Alright, give me just a second to hop over here on the Facebook dealio. May need to close my windows, may not, we'll see. Super bright. Okay. Is it gonna mute it or not? There we go. Alrighty, so. What's on his teeth? I still have, unfortunately, a lot of cleanup to do on this guy. But I'm just going to do it with Tamaya as I finish the skin, so I'm not too concerned. Yeah, this guy was in rough shape. I'm not sure what the client was using to do the gap filling on it previously, but it was pretty thick on some of these areas, so, which is unfortunate, but like this was something that was left over there. But so what I do is just gap fill it and then look at how bad it is once I do my first base layer, and then I'll go back through with Tamaya, fill it, and then finish skin up. But for today, what we're going to be focusing on are the eyes and the reflection on the eyes from this little dangler. So it's going to be in the middle, and pretty much what I'll do here is let's sort of sketch what the plan is. So it's going to be very bright right about here. Oop. Wet brush. Okay, so it's going to be really wet around here. Did I say wet? Well, I mean, I guess. Reflective, at least. So on each side, I'm sort of mapping it out. This is going to look funny. But, so this is pretty much like the first level right here. What I'm doing right now is like so thin it doesn't matter. It's just really pigmented paint. Okay, so about there, which then means on the outside portion. Oop, that's not the direction I needed to take that. No sound on YouTube? What? Outside. No, there's sound on YouTube. I just unmuted it for myself and you heard it. Alright, so now sort of the outer areas where that reflection would exist. And then if there's going to be like a horizon, it would go out in this direction. Across the center. So just sort of visualizing it better for myself here. The other thing too is that this isn't glowing like crazy, so it's not like going to be affecting the face. More so just what you're seeing here. Okay. Alright, I'm happy with that, and I can at least work with it. So, we'll get started. Sorry. Okay. Alright, I think that's a smooth enough base. Okay, so now moving our way back up, you can see right here, this is our next sort of level. Super hard to actually see what I'm working on because since it's a small sphere, the reflections that I'm getting are like really intense. So it's really hard for me to actually kind of monitor what I'm doing. On camera, they're not showing up that bad, but right in front of me. Sorry. Right in front of me, they're pretty rough. Since the rest of this miniature is like really simplistic, this is sort of the most important part. So that's why I'm taking my time doing really, really thin layering. If this was my personal miniature, I probably would have done it without the donger attached on the front, just because this literally is in the way of my finger. And I could just break it off if it really is an issue, but we will see. Excuse my coughing. I was doing, I like opened up my windows and I dusted all the blinds and now I'm like dying still hours later. How many expansions did this guy send you? I mean, I have no idea. A lot. A lot. Alright. So, again, if you haven't seen, we only have 2 spots left for the summer painting event that's going to be going on. So if it's something that you were interested in, you got to move fast. So. I don't know how I hit this, but, right? It's dead? Okay. Jeez, look at that. Oh, that's the issue. It's the window. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to close the window. Okay. That's fine. Alright, 1 second. Sorry to disturb you, Arthur. Look at this thing. I have it all the way rolled up. There we go. Whoop. Chill. That's a house plant. Okay, the house plant is underneath the blinds. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. Alright. Now we can see what's going on the palette. Alright, cool. Where's this? There we go. No, so ever since I announced that summer event, everybody's been like asking about everything other than the event as well. So they're like, when's the next one? When's this? When's that? Or like, can you do it anywhere else? So while I appreciate your enthusiasm, I don't do anything else anywhere like that. This is the first event that I've put on solo. I teach at ReaperCon mostly because it's super close, and the people at Reaper and I have a really great relationship, and I have friends and family in Texas, and so that just sort of works out. But otherwise, you know, I'm a full-time painter, and any time I am not spending painting is money that I am losing, and I'm usually booked really far in advance. So like right now, we're getting to the point that if people are booking, it's delivering sometime in May, but that's getting real close to that June booking, you know, type of deal. So essentially, you know, the only way to survive is to continually book, and doing a lot of traveling for conventions and stuff is more so people that aren't doing commissions full time. So they're usually people that have a pretty sizable Patreon. Or like, you know, a high sub count on Twitch or something like that, right? Like their income isn't solely dependent upon painting itself. So when it comes to the classes and everything, for me, either A, you know, if you're interested in that stuff, I've always run a Patreon, and this month it is switching over from Patreon to the website directly. So I'll have all that content on there from now on, and that's 1 to 2 classes a month, depending on what exactly, you know, you're wanting to pay for. And then I also do private lessons online that are one-on-one over whatever topic you would want to talk about or do a demo of, or if we're painting on the same miniature or whatever. So I offer that stuff, and then ReaperCon's the only thing that I really travel to. And I've had offers, so I did get an offer from another convention out at the end of this month, or I think actually it would have been last weekend. I have no idea, but you know, they offered to compensate room and board and all that stuff if I showed up, and that was possible. It's just I had a commission due, so I wasn't going to be able to really say that. But so, you know, unless a place is willing to compensate for travel, room and board, stuff like that, then it's really hard for me to justify doing anything else. So, but the summer event that we're going to be doing is pretty much all the way sold out. And like if a couple, pretty much if 2 people in general get added to that house, we're just going to call it booked. So I'm not even making money off of this event. Depending on if I have to pay somebody to help me, then maybe $100 total at the end of the day, right? So with this one, this was merely because it would be cheap since I live right here, and if I could get a sponsor like I did with Reaper, then it was, you know, perfect storm for me to test it out. So if I am going to do events like that elsewhere in the country, the price is going to have to go up quite a bit. Not like a ton, but probably about $100 or so. And then it may be actually worth taking the time to get it on the road and everything like that. So, or if I have game stores that hit me up that are interested in doing events like that, I will happily do them, but obviously we have to charge a fee. So, and I've tried tirelessly here locally to get those events set up, and you know, I've talked about it before, I don't need to really talk about it again, but not the best scene in Oklahoma City, so. I'm gonna do a secondary reflection right here on the outside on both eyes, so that way it's sort of bouncing back on each end. Not that the reflection wouldn't necessarily be there in general, but I think it just sort of adds to the spherical nature of the eye itself. Okay, so I was making sure I wasn't crazy. This isn't directly in the center, so it is going to be off-center on the face itself. So that's, I was like, I don't know if I did that right. But its little dangler is not right in the middle of its face, so... Trying to sort of sketch out another transition edge that I can highlight down onto. Going back in with that sort of mid-green. We're just moving our way back down in tone. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit darker once more. Even though I would hardly consider this dark. Joshua, no. So all of my clients give me specific well, not all of them. Some of them are, you know, cool because they let me do pretty much whatever I want, which is always, in my opinion, the best bang for your buck. But others that sort of have inspiration, I ask for like as much specific detail as possible. And in that way, I'm able to give them, you know, something that they at least are wanting. I also had to implement just sort of a different sort of system when it comes to like what people are expecting from me, because there's nothing worse than someone else coming to me and wanting the exact same paint job from someone else that charges more than me, because it's sort of just disrespectful. So it's like, all right, well, I mean, you should just go to that other person instead of, you know, have me paint for you because you obviously don't want me to paint for you. So instead, they can, I'm looking for my German, oh, there it is. So instead, they'll send me a bunch of examples, descriptions, things like that. And as long as you're not somebody that's like, you know, I want 100% this, then it's usually okay. But that's sort of the deal. Or if it's something, and that's obviously not an issue with clients that like play Warhammer or something, because most of the time, right, those guys all just want, you know, something painted to like a specific, what would you call it, like chapter, if it's like Space Marines, for example, or whatever the case would be, whatever faction color that you'd be using. So those are a little bit simpler. But so this one, this client in particular made a gigantic Google document folder with tons and tons and tons of information. The other KDM client that I have, I mean, I have, 3 other ones total, but another client that I have put together like a huge PDF with all the information about everything from how he wants things built to the poses to certain colors or other artists that he liked, but with changes and different things like that. So usually a big wide array of information and inspiration. And then other times too, like if it's a board game itself, I'll just straight up take the game artwork. So like what's a good example of that? Oh, Gloomhaven, right? So Gloomhaven has a bunch of, if you're unfamiliar, has like secret miniatures that you unlock as you play. There are other classes that you can play as you progress. So with a game like that, even the game creators don't provide a ton of information, and they sort of have this really loose color art that'll be, you know, on the game while you play or whatever, like on the table. So I sort of base it off of that, or let's say a good example is like Rising Sun or Massive Darkness. That there's like literally artwork for every single miniature. So with that, it's like unless they want something different, then I'll just copy the artwork, and I don't feel too bad about that because obviously it's concept art. So, but you know, usually for myself, I just like do my own thing. So I tried to have a slight curve with this line. I don't know if it was as successful as I wanted, but this one's curving down and that one's curving up. So like, I think I'm gonna keep sculpting it, but I wanted to show the different sort of direction maybe the eyes are positioned on the head in comparison to that. So, but does that look like a weird glow? Let me know in the chat. I mean, I think that looks very, very creepy. Remember, it's Dingleberry is going to be this color, so let me know. I'm dying. Remember, if you are watching on YouTube, please share. I haven't shared this video anywhere, so if someone could share it to the Lanterns Light group. Hey Mark, how's it going, buddy? If somebody could share it to the Painting Happy Little Minis group, that'd be awesome as well. And then remember, if you are watching on Facebook, or if you're watching on YouTube as well, I do stream on Twitch, and you can subscribe to me for free on Twitch. So that's $5 that comes to me every month. if you have Amazon Prime. So you can see that information over there in that corner. All you have to do is go to Twitch, make an account, and you can link it to Amazon, and boom, you can subscribe to me for free. That's free money out of your pocket that turns into real money into my pocket and Arthur's stomach. Right there. Arthur, you sleep? Do you want a treat? Hey, Arthur, do you want a treat? Hey. Hi. Hello. See how hard he's working today? But, so that'll help allow me to get him super fat, and I guess the geckos enjoy mealworms as well. But make sure you definitely do that if you would like. It's a free way for you to support me if you don't do the like Patreon payment stuff or the painting supplies stuff or whatever. You know, we're getting close to a video every single day. Hopefully, we'll do some kind of celebration when I hit episode 365 because we're on 268. You know, so if you've been hanging around since day one, you're a real OG and I appreciate you, but there are many ways to support and appreciate. Look at how wet this is. I've really just made a huge mess on this palette. Luckily I just cut a ton of new palette sheets. I sent Mark a surprise extra miniature with his minis when I sent them back. I've done that with a few people. I did that with Anthony as well. With his Age of Sigmar army, I sent him a little extra surprise. I know I did that, well, Ben knew what his surprise was, but... He got one of those competition minis from ReaperCon, which was cool. I sent somebody else an actual painting, I forget what. I did a little painting and I put it in with their commission. Actually, I don't even think they said anything back to me once they got it. You know, it's kind of funny, like, there will always be a ton of communication with clients right around the end of a commission, obviously. And so we talk a bunch, whatever, it's all good, it gets put in the mail, it's all good, you know, everybody's happy, bada bing, bada boom. And then it's just like, okay, bye. Like, literally, the majority of people, there's no follow-up, like, once it actually gets in their hands. Or if there is, it's so far later on. They're like, oh, by the way, loved it, thanks. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks for the update. I'm usually, actually what's funny is I'm usually the guy that reaches out. I'm like, yo, did everything make it okay? Like, you didn't, it says delivered. Are we good? Or do I need to, like, call CSI? Alright, so just for S and G's, we'll paint this dangler. Ben didn't thank me at all. Ben's a liar. Everybody knows Ben's a big liar. Can't spell liar without B-E-N. Alright, so... That's hilarious. Ah, that's the difference. It's darker up top on that side. So I need to darken the top part on this guy. Just a little bit there. There we go. Alright. Let's do a little base coating on it. A little floating gangule here. What I didn't understand, I guess, was that there wasn't really any OSL on the face, but I guess if the eyes are hyper reflective and it's in a lit environment, it would still pick up the reflection on this thing. I don't know, but like I say, I have instruction. I really want to go back and fix this, but this is one of the areas the client put whatever he used. I don't know what it is, so. I already put like 30 minutes into cleaning that guy, which is like the max I'll do on something that's pre-assembled, but even I don't want to let an ugly baby go through the door. I hate painting big miniatures on stream. It's like I have to fight the shape of this thing the entire time. We'll clean up those edges once I actually figure out what I want to do with the secondary tint on the skin, because that obviously is an area where that's going to be needed. Have you tried Pro Acryl paints at all? Well, Ben, it's interesting you say that, because I am now officially a media partner with Creature Caster. I haven't made the announcement because I feel like every day I'm announcing something new, but they're going to be sending me a set of the Pro Acryl paints to try out, so I'll let you know. But we'll do a stream about it. We'll do a little thank you stream or something. You know how it goes. My next goal is to find, well, I'll talk to the guys. Well, we'll actually see, but one thing I was interested in as well. Oh, see, look, there we go. You can actually see that reflection point coming through correctly. So, yeah, I'll be interested. I've read some other people's reviews, and then I've also talked to a couple other painters, like painters, about what they think about it too, compared to what they already use and what brands they already use, and bada bing, bada boom, and we'll see. We'll see what I think. You know, at this point, it's one of those things where people ask me, about paint brands, or what should I buy, or what should I try, or like if you're new to painting and I've only been using this brand, but I want to try out this other brand or whatever. Literally, to me, at this point, I can use anything, right? And paint falls into two categories. Either stuff that's... three categories, I'm sorry. So for me, paint comes in three styles. High pigment, good for glazing, or this is for the airbrush, right? And it doesn't matter who's making the paint, if it's Vallejo, or if it's Reaper, if it's Warcolor, if it's Army Painter, if it's GW, if it's Pro Acryl. What else do I have here? I don't know. However many brands I actually use. They all will have paints that fall into that category, and so it's just sort of what I want to do and when I want to do it, like application-wise with the paint. So for me, it's like, well, I mean, Pro Acryl could be amazing. But at the same time, right, it would have to check so many boxes to like really set itself apart that's the only difference. Like, we'll just have to see how it acts. You know, the same way, like the only reason I've been interested in general in Scale 75 outside of the issues I had trying to buy it was just because it dries super matte. But I know there's literally no like applicable difference in that paint itself. It just dries matte. That's it. To me, like that's literally the only difference with that paint, right? Or like the one coat, one layer paints from Warcolors, right? I would never use them for any other reason other than, boom, they have like the craziest pigment quality I've ever touched in a paint. But that's it. Like they can't do half the other stuff other paints can do, right? Because of the nature of the way that pigment interacts with others. But it's amazing for that. And then every other brand at this point, it's like, so, you know, I have so many extra Army Painter colors now that I just use them in the airbrush, and I don't use them for anything. It's just, this is cheapo paint, I don't really care. So I'll shoot that through the airbrush. With Reaper or Vallejo, it'll go through the airbrush if I like really need that color and I can't make it with something else, but I like to do that sparingly. But day-to-day paints are either Vallejo for like super thinning work, which is what we're doing right now, or so like with all the other work that I do outside of the super higher level stuff, then it's just all Reaper and some Vallejo depending on the situation. Citadel, I don't own anything Citadel, mostly because I have like 800 paints at my house and I have no reason to switch over, and the dropper bottle is easier for me. And why would I waste time transferring GW paint into dropper bottles when I can just buy paint that's in dropper bottles, right? So that's sort of the thing there. But I have no I have nothing wrong with GW paints, so I think that their painting system makes a lot of sense, and it helps a lot of people become better painters, right? Because they're like, here's your base, here's your layer, here's your dry, you know, all those aspects are really cool. I love their technical paints, like the basing paints and texture paint stuff. That's really cool. And I use that. Obviously, I use the holders, I use the paint pot. I'm using it right now. I use their like $10 little spatula thing for texture, which is funny. And I've used P3 paint before. I think P3 is like super similar to a bunch of stuff on the market, and I don't think it has any like standout quality with it. So that's really the only general thing. I'm trying to think what other people use that I don't really use, but I pretty much use everything else. So I'm trying to think. There's you guys know I love Warcolor. I think they make some of the best paints in terms of layering. It's absolutely nuts. There's also Innistar Paint or something. I've been messing with them on Instagram, following them, and sort of seeing what they've been doing. And I'll have to see, you know, I probably won't order from them just because they're in the EU, but I know they're a new paint company. And then there was another paint company as well. I forget who it was, but I was definitely interested in them. So, you know, it's just sort of, for me, like, paint is never going to amaze me. Like the stuff from Scale 75 that's literally just like artist acrylic in the tubes, like that cracks me up so much that it's that miniature painting, like we're so used to the things that we're used to that someone can literally just offer you straight up acrylic paint in tubes, and it's like world changing, right? Like you can use Gildan high density acrylic paint in tubes right now, and it's probably better stuff, in all honesty, because of the way people dilute it with chemicals further. But I just think it's funny that like some of that stuff actually makes its way onto the market just because people are looking for something new to try, you know? I say Gildan? Sorry, Golden. Not Gildan. What was that buzzing on my phone? Sorry, that's a new track I've been working on and making a mixtape about painting. I hope you guys support me. Sorry. As I'm holding my phone, I'm getting even more noises. I don't know what's happening. No, I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry. Somebody asked me a question and they want an immediate reply. There we go. Somebody's banging on something and I can feel it in my feet. Like my neighbor below me. I don't know what's going on. That dude almost burned down his apartment last night, by the way. They cook at really weird hours. I still can't figure out what's going on down there. I mean, if he ever watches this, sorry. What if he's watching this right now? That'd be funny as shit, actually. Anyway, dude, his fire alarm went off like for 20 minutes, man. And I knew that like they cook, and I guess everyone's what I'm suspecting is like everyone's ovens here get cleaned out visually, but not like a chemical clean out. So as soon as you move in, you're like, I'm gonna cook something, and then it's like, hey, there's 10 years of burnt gunk in the belly of this beast, you know, or whatever the deal is. But because yeah, the girl that connects to like my kitchen wall, her smoke detector goes off every single day cooking something. It's just like beep, beep, beep. Not really freak out, but all I'm saying is I took mine just off the ceiling because it did the same thing. So. Now then, am I afraid to die in a fire? Well, maybe, but... The moral of this story is, I don't think it's gonna be me. That starts it. But yeah, it was like a 3-alarm fire. Like, it was like the one in the kitchen was going off, and then you could hear the one in the bedroom, so I was like... Just like playing Pong. It was, I mean, it was intense, but it was also weird hours, like 9:45 at night, cooking up them late night snacks in the oven. Ooh boy. I'm liking the reflection, I'm liking it. It's kind of funny that this is what we're painting today. But that's also one thing too, a lot of people don't realize, like, and this is a good miniature as an example. You know, I'm gonna spend pretty much all of the time invested on this miniature on these eyes to get it looking, you know, as good as it can, but then the rest of the paint job isn't really going to be much because it's just like simple highlighting on like purple to gray sort of pallid skin. But so if this is like a 3-hour mini, 4-hour mini compared to another miniature that's like 4 hours, it's just interesting to kind of see where that time ends up being spent more than you would imagine. Okay, so sort of like double visual checking sort of where I need to layer back in colors. Luckily everything I'm working with is so thin that I really can go in and fix it super quick. Okay, so I need to go in. Okay. What's funny is it's easier for me to look at I keep looking up here at this monitor because it's easier for me to get a better overhead angle up close than with my actual eyeballs. Let that dry. That sort of mid-tone green smoothed it out a little bit. Oop, I'm out of Yerman Gray. Oh, I did make one change on that orc bust. I'll show you. Oh, I'll show you guys that. Nice, okay. I was trying to clean up that edge to match the other side. Because the other side's real clean. Probably do the same on both sides. Okay, okay. There we go. Alright, so I'm gonna let that dry. Oh yeah, let's look at this guy. So what I did was I went back in around the eye and made it way brighter with like a neon paint. Look at that. Even I am just like blown away with how well this guy's turned out. I want this to win a Sophie trophy at ReaperCon, for real. I want this bust to win something nuts, because there's no way that I would put it in that much work and not get something better than what I did last year. And I know that this is better than what won me gold last year, so I'll be interested to see how, you know, if it's a big enough jump to win a Sophie trophy, so. I think so. I think it's a good paint job. I don't know. I don't know, dude. But this is what we're working on today. This thing. For real, this thing literally looks so stupid, but I get it. Whatever. It's Kingdom Death, man. Alright, so let's get actual black paint, guys. We're changing the world. Oh yeah, so I know I need to make an update to the confrontation miniature situation. But for those that are watching that were interested, so I was like, hey, well, whatever. I'm just gonna ignore sort of the not so nice part of the reply, where they sort of were trying to blame me as well as them for what happened, which is pretty stupid, but, and obviously not true. However, so what I did was I was like, well, okay, so I might be moving, so I need to know, you know, when this stuff is supposedly going to ship, the resin. Because remember, the resin's late. It was already supposed to have shipped to the backers. So I'm like, I need to know when this is, you know, because I might need to give you a different address. And then I don't hear anything back for a while, and I'm like, all right. So I went into the backer kit and just changed my address, so that way it'll just go to my parents no matter where in the world that I am. So I changed that address. Then I get a reply back, and she was like, oh, yeah, so I know the backer kit's closed, so you can't see all the info. Because that's the other thing, too. She was like, hey, just confirming you checked backer kit to see that we have the right stuff in there for you. Which they do, I guess, now, but there's no way for me to check because I can't see since it's closed or something. I don't know. It wasn't showing me. So she showed me screenshots to confirm. She was like, okay, yeah, our bad. You know, here's what's on our system. I'm like, okay, cool. And then she was like, and yeah, if you're going to be moving, just update your address so you don't have to worry. And so what's interesting about that is that pretty much on the Kickstarter page and a lot of other places on the internet, people are assuming that this Kickstarter now is like not going to fulfill because it's so late and they're not giving updates. And some people are saying it's a complete scam and all this stuff, yada yada. Remember, I got messages from people who were saying that the company might just be out of business, and like the people here in America don't know about it, you know, like, so there was all this information going around, which honestly, that's pretty much what was going on in the actual campaign. A ton of misinformation the whole time, and from various other sources. And so no one has been given any official date or update as to the resin. So by me asking them, hey, I need a hard date, right, because I'm going to need to change my address, they really weren't going to be able to answer that question for me, because then it meant that I was like the only person that had that information, period. So I sort of understood why it took them a little bit to reply, because I'm like, well, this sort of puts them in a bind, because if they answer this question for me, which they probably should have, but that's the smartest way that they could have answered it, was just by saying, oh, just go ahead and change it anyway. Right? Like, just to be safe, just change it. And it's like, okay, well, cool. But, so, you know, it's one of those things where they're not communicating at all on the Kickstarter page. Like, so much so, even today, somebody replied to a post that I'm following on Facebook from, like, months ago about this Kickstarter. And he's like, this is a huge scam. They aren't replying to anybody. This is such a scam, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, there are a lot of people that are pissed off, more so than just me. At least with me, because, you know, they felt the need to reply to my video, since I know thousands of people watched it. You know, at least they said they're going to make things right, that it was just a mistake, and it was all good, and that we're both to blame, by the way. I'm to blame, and they're to blame, but I am also at fault, is what they told me. That it's my fault that they didn't reply to my emails, so just know that. Oh, and that they stopped checking the email address that I was emailing. That's my fault as well. But it's equally their fault. That's what they said. So it's interesting to know, you know, that's at least the update. They said they're going to make good with their promises or whatever, and it is what it is. But it's my fault. And their fault. But you get it. You get what they did. You saw what they were trying to do. But anyway, if you guys, I don't know if I'm going to, I mean, I might show the emails, since I did last time as well, just to be transparent, but you'll see them and be like, what? Okay. So, sorry, I'm checking the old page arena here really quick. Oh, wow. The alarm went off. You know what that means. It's time to go. Sort of. But anyway, alright, yeah, so it is time to go. But after adding the black, I definitely enjoy the even deeper sort of subtle contrast that created. I think that if we are looking at that reflectiveness right there, it works pretty... Arthur, what are you... What are this cat's doing, guys? You see him on my table? Arthur. What a goon, man. Anyway, oh jeez. Oh gosh, now I gotta, oh my gosh. Wall-mounted monitors. Are you just gonna lay down on top of that? Okay, he's being weird. But either way, I think if you look at the reflection there, it works really well. That's pretty much the whole trick to this guy anyway, after just painting everything else on him. But definitely I'm glad to get that. It looks nice and creepy, and whoop-de-woo, we're gonna be done with him. Tomorrow I might be doing either like the big tree thing or maybe some other miniature, but either way it's probably gonna be Kingdom Death, most likely, and then we'll take a break and do something fun for Reaper Fridays. So But that is it for today. Thanks for hanging out. If it's your first time watching or seeing anything, make sure to like the page, subscribe, follow, whatever. If you're on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, doesn't matter. I'm on all three. So thanks for hanging out. And oh, yeah, again, I guess I'll plug, right? There's only 2 spots left for the summer atelier. It's almost totally sold out. So if you are interested in that, hit me up. And I've had more people contact me about commissions. I'm still technically closed, but if you don't mind waiting until May or sometime possibly after May, if it's really, really long, then definitely holler at me. Look what I'm dealing with here with this cat. Hold on. Look at him come right here. He has to get as close to my face. Look, he is like 1 hand length away from my face. But anyway, so we'll figure out what we're going to be working on, and then that will be our week. And then hopefully I'll be done with this Kingdom Death over the weekend. And then all my other clients can get stuff done. Yay! Because I can't really, when I'm working on stuff like this, it has to be a one at a time thing. So, but anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Arthur says goodbye. He's about to get some treats and be very happy with his life. Look how upset he is right now. He hates it. And that's it. I will see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Stud Time. Ayy. See you guys later. Arthur, you better tell him bye so you can get a treat. Alright.